Hi, welcome to another walk in the Carpenter shop. I want to talk to you today about something that we often talk about if you're one of the folks who worship with us on a regular basis, or you watch us online, or you connect with us. One of the things we often talk about is the importance of journaling. 1 Chronicles 16:12 says this: "Remember his marvelous works which he has done, his wonders, and the judgments of his mouth." Now, if you think about remembering the marvelous works he's done, you say, well, yeah, I can do that, I can remember that. Really? You ever forget anything? Anything ever slip your mind? Anything you intended to do and for some reason you just never got it done? See, we think we're good at remembering, but sometimes we're not so good at that. Matter of fact, even important things will slip our minds if we're not careful. And as a result, everybody has their own mechanism of what they do to remember the things that are most important. You ever have anybody look at you and say, hey, how'd you forget that? Well, you know the reason. It slipped their mind. See, we default always where if someone forgets something that we think is important, our default is, well, it wasn't important to them. That may or may not be true, and that may or may not be fair. Because at the end of the day, we've all had moments where we just flat forgot something. I've had moments, and because of the pace of life or because of the events of life, circumstances, situations, you forget things. Jim Elliott is a missionary that is a name that a lot of people know. He was killed on the mission field by the Ecuadorian Indians that he was trying to reach. But if you go back and look at his life, reaching the Indians wasn't his only challenge. He wrote this once in one of his journals: "My devotional reading pattern has been broken. I've never really restored it. Prayer has been difficult. Sometimes it's hard to get out of bed in the morning. I've made resolutions on the score before now, but I haven't followed them up." That's his journal. And we read that and we go, well, here's a godly man who gave his life serving Jesus and trying to reach people with the love of Christ, and that's important. But for him, he wrote these things down, and that journal has become part of his legacy, and it reminds us that even when you're devoted as a follower, even when you're willing to work for God, the journal helps you be able to go back and look at things and know where you are in the journey and the commitments you made to move forward and make it better. It helps us chart our progress. It helps us see the good and the bad and the ugly sometimes. And so a journal is a record of your journey, a written account of your life as you travel toward heaven. And so the journal becomes important. Now, most people will never read your journal, and that's okay. It's your journal. It's that conversation between you and God. Eventually, someday, someone might read your journal. Probably be a family member, probably be a friend, but they won't mind the insights of the road that you're on. They won't mind seeing the journey that God's taken you on. But to know this, that really the person that that journal's for, that's for you. And there's great value in taking the time, because we just don't remember everything like we need to. It's not because it's not important. Don't ever throw that line. No, we forget because we forget. And we forget because our minds are cluttered. And we forget because life gets busy. There's a lot of reasons we forget. But the one way to assure that we won't is to make sure that we can write things down and know where we wrote them down so we can go back to find it. Now, if you write them down in a journal and you lose your journal, that's a whole different level of forgetting, and that probably is a study for another time. But don't be afraid to journal. I look forward to joining you next time here in the Carpenter Shop.